In the late 13th century, a new power was emerging in the heart of Anatolia. The Seljuk Sultanate, weakened by internal strife and Mongol invasions, began to crumble, leaving behind a patchwork of smaller states vying for power. Among them were the Ottomans, a Turkic tribe led by the ambitious and charismatic Osman Gazi. Born in 1258, Osman inherited a small principality in northwestern Anatolia from his father, Ertugrul. He quickly proved himself a capable leader and a skilled warrior, expanding Ottoman territory at the expense of the crumbling Byzantine Empire. Osman's ambitions went far beyond mere raiding and conquest. He envisioned the creation of a powerful and independent Turkish state, a beacon of Islam in a region still reeling from the Mongol onslaught. To achieve this dream, Osman needed to secure a strategic foothold, a city that could serve as a base for further expansion and a symbol of Ottoman power. That city was Bursa. Osman understood that the capture of Bursa would be a turning point in his struggle against the Byzantines. It would provide the nascent Ottoman state with much-needed wealth, resources, and prestige. Moreover, it would signal to the world that the Ottomans were a force to be reckoned with, capable of challenging the established powers of the region. Nestled at the foot of Mount Uludag, Bursa was a prize coveted by many. Known as Green Bursa for its fertile plains and lush gardens, the city was a flourishing center of trade and commerce, strategically located at the crossroads of vital trade routes connecting Anatolia to Constantinople and the Mediterranean. Its strong walls and natural defenses made it a formidable fortress, while its wealth and prosperity promised rich rewards for its eventual conqueror. For the Byzantines, Bursa represented a vital gateway to their remaining territories in Asia Minor. Its loss would sever crucial supply lines and leave their eastern frontier dangerously exposed. Aware of the city's importance, the Byzantines had fortified Bursa with strong walls, reinforced by numerous towers and guarded by a sizable garrison. They believed that these defenses, coupled with the city's natural advantages, would be enough to withstand any Ottoman assault. Osman, however, was undeterred. He recognized the strategic value of Bursa and was determined to add it to his growing domain. He knew that capturing the city would not be easy, but he was willing to pay the price in blood and time to achieve his objective. The fortifications of Bursa presented a daunting obstacle to any attacker. The city walls, built with thick stone blocks and reinforced with towers at regular intervals, stood as high as 10 meters in some places. These defenses were further strengthened by a deep moat, effectively hindering any direct assault. The Byzantine garrison, though not particularly large, was well trained and equipped, ready to defend their city with unwavering determination. Osman, acutely aware of the challenges posed by these formidable defenses, knew that a direct assault on the city would be futile and costly. The Ottomans, at this stage, lacked the siege weaponry and resources necessary to overcome such fortifications. They were, after all, still a relatively small force, primarily composed of light cavalry and infantry, ill-equipped for prolonged sieges. Therefore, Osman opted for a different approach, one that played to his strengths and exploited the weaknesses of his enemy. Instead of a full frontal assault, he would lay siege to the city, cutting off its supply lines and gradually wearing down its defenders. This strategy, while requiring patience and perseverance, promised a less costly and ultimately more decisive victory. Osman's strategy for capturing Bursa was characterized by patience, persistence, and a shrewd understanding of his enemy's weaknesses. He knew that a direct assault on the city's fortifications would be costly and likely unsuccessful. Instead, he opted for a prolonged siege, aiming to starve the city into submission, while simultaneously employing guerrilla tactics to weaken the Byzantine defenses and morale. The Ottoman forces, under Osman's command, surrounded Bursa in 1301, effectively cutting off the city's supply lines to the surrounding countryside and the Byzantine heartland. They raided caravans and patrols, venturing out from the city, further tightening their grip and preventing any supplies from reaching the besieged populace. However, Osman's strategy went beyond simply starving the city. He understood the importance of demoralizing the defenders and sowing discord within their ranks. His forces regularly engaged in hit-and-run attacks, targeting patrols, harassing guards, and disrupting any attempts at repairing the defenses. These tactics, while not resulting in significant casualties, took a toll on the defenders. Section 5, the long siege, years of attrition and the slow grip of fate. The Siege of Bursa was not a dramatic single event, but rather a slow, grinding war of attrition that dragged on for years. The Ottomans, lacking sophisticated siege weaponry, could not breach the city's defences through brute force. Instead, they relied on their control of the surrounding countryside, effectively choking off Bursa's access to food, supplies and reinforcements. Life inside the city grew increasingly desperate as the siege wore on. Food stores dwindled, and the population faced starvation. The constant fear of Ottoman raids and the hopelessness of their situation gnawed at the morale of the defenders and citizens alike. Despite the deteriorating conditions, the Byzantine garrison in Bursa remained defiant. They repelled Ottoman attacks, repaired their defences as best they could, and clung to the hope of relief from Constantinople. However, as months turned into years, that hope dwindled with each passing season. By 1326, after 9 long years of siege, the city of Bursa was on its last legs. The relentless Ottoman blockade had taken its toll. The citizens were starving, the garrison was exhausted, and hope was dwindling. In a final act of desperation, the Byzantine Emperor Andronikos III Palaiologos attempted to break the siege. He led a relief force from Constantinople, hoping to relieve the city and drive back the Ottomans. However, Osman, anticipating this move, had prepared a cunning trap. He allowed the Byzantine army to approach Bursa, feigning weakness and retreat. The Byzantines, sensing an opportunity to crush the Ottomans, pursued their enemy with vigour. This pursuit led them straight into a carefully planned ambush. The Ottomans, with the advantage of terrain and surprise, routed the Byzantine relief force, effectively crushing any hope of relief for Bursa. The defeat at Baphius was a devastating blow to the Byzantines and sealed the fate of Bursa. With their hopes of relief dashed and their resources exhausted, the city's leaders realized the futility of further resistance. In 1326, they surrendered the city to Osman, marking a pivotal moment in the history of the Ottoman Empire. The capture of Bursa was a watershed moment for the nascent Ottoman Empire. It was more than just a military victory, it was a symbolic triumph that announced the arrival of a new power in Anatolia. The city, with its strategic location, thriving economy and rich cultural heritage, became the new capital of the Ottoman state, replacing the smaller town of Sugut. Bursa's wealth and resources provided the Ottomans with a much-needed financial and logistical base for their future campaigns. The city's skilled artisans, merchants and scholars contributed to the burgeoning Ottoman state, laying the foundation for a vibrant cultural and intellectual life. The capture of Bursa also had significant psychological implications. It boosted Ottoman morale and attracted new recruits eager to join the ranks of a rising power. Conversely, it demoralized the Byzantines, who now faced the reality of a powerful and ambitious enemy established on their doorstep. Osman Gazi, the visionary leader who had laid the foundation for this momentous victory, did not live to see Bursa's full transformation into an imperial capital. He died in 1326, shortly before the city's fall, leaving his son Orhan to inherit his legacy and continue his expansionist policies. However, Osman's capture of Bursa had set in motion a chain of events that would shape the destiny of the Ottoman Empire for centuries to come. It provided the Ottomans with a strategic springboard for further conquests in both Anatolia and the Balkans. It also established a pattern of expansion and consolidation that would characterize Ottoman history for generations. The fall of Bursa served as a powerful symbol of the decline of Byzantine power and the rise of Ottoman dominance in the region. It marked the beginning of a new era, one in which the Ottomans would rise to become one of the most powerful empires in history. The siege and capture of Bursa stand as a testament to Osman Gazi's strategic brilliance, his unwavering determination, and the growing strength of the Ottoman state. This hard-won victory, achieved through years of patience, persistence, and a keen understanding of both the battlefield and the enemy's weaknesses, laid the foundation for the rise of the Ottoman Empire, Bursa, transformed from a Byzantine stronghold into the vibrant capital of the Ottoman state, became a symbol of Ottoman ambition and a testament to their growing power. It was here, in the shadow of Mount Uludag, that the seeds of a vast empire were sown, an empire that would eventually stretch from the gates of Vienna to the sands of Arabia, leaving an indelible mark on the course of world history. The story of the Siege of Bursa is not just a tale of military conquest, it's a saga of ambition, perseverance, and the birth of a dynasty. It reminds us that even the mightiest of empires often begin with a single, strategically significant victory, a victory that alters the course of history and shapes the destiny of nations.